Hi there, thank you for joining us for this week of Hobbies, Crafts, and Collectibles. On today's show, we'll be talking with Butch Jones from Westfield. He is a tournament fisherman, and we'll also be talking with Fanale from Charleston, who has an extensive record collection. Stay with us. It is my pleasure to welcome Butch Jones to the studio today. Butch, thank you so much for coming.
Well, it's good to be here.
You are a fisherman.
Absolutely.
Now, I've been fishing like twice in my life. Wouldn't touch the bait, wouldn't take the fish off.
Right.
Had to throw it back. But you've kind of turned this hobby into something that you really get into. You're more like a professional fisherman now, aren't you?
Right. Actually, I fished 2 pro circuits.
Okay.
But it started off as a hobby.
Yeah. When did it start?
Well, Dad took me fishing when I was 6, and that was the last thing he should have ever done.
You were hooked, weren't you?
Hooked on fishing. Yeah. But you know, the thing was that even at 6 years old, I sat on a bank for 10 hours straight watching a bobber.
That's incredible, really, when you think about it.
And my dad's like, "Oh my God, what have I started?" Because he didn't fish like that.
I see.
But as I grew into teen years, I started fishing local ponds and started catching big fish and getting hooked. And I thought I was something else until I got into the tournament circuits. Because you can get in as a co-angler and start as you don't have to be a professional. You don't have to have a boat. And I was going to blaze in there and show them how to catch bass. I think I caught 2 fish the whole year in the tournament. So.
Oh, wow.
But, the thing of it is with this is that whatever you like to do, whatever kind of fishing you would like to do, if you have never fished, there's different ways to get started in fishing. But the type of fish you want to catch is dependent on the tackle you buy.
Well, what type of fish do you usually like to?
Well, I'm a bass fisherman. Okay. And I've got to say that there's crappie tournaments, there's bass tournaments, there's muskie tournaments, and there's probably 4 to 1 bass fishermen over any of the others.
I see.
And there's some catfish tournaments. But
is that just because it's more prevalent, or?
Yeah, it's widespread. And actually the bass circuits started probably 30, 40 years ago. Forest Elwood started one, and then I can't remember the name of the bass, BASS, but it gave organization to fishing.
I see.
And the reason I liked it, I was always in sports when I was in school, and it was the best of both worlds. Now I could fish and be competitive too.
Yeah.
So just, I'm going to beat you, the same old thing. I got to do the best, but in my attitude, second place is the first loser. So I'm diehard, but the thing of it is that you can dedicate as much time as you want up to being a professional. And then
when you say professional, that means you're doing it for money, or you're getting sponsorships?
Right. I actually have a few sponsors, but you can go, like locally, there's Wednesday night tournaments on local lakes. There's Thursday night tournaments. There's Saturday morning tournaments. A husband and wife can go. You can take your children and enter little team tournaments. You can have a team. And I actually fish a pro team circuit as well, so I have a partner. But, you can go out and spend $30 in a night. If you've got a little boat, you can go fish for 3 hours and fish every Wednesday night if you want.
I see.
And it's so nice because you can take your kids with you, you and your son, or you and your daughter, you and your wife. And then if you want to fish on the pro circuit, you can actually fish as a co-angler, which you're not a pro. You don't even have to have a boat. You can show up for the tournament meeting the night before. They pair you up, and you can go see some of the local lakes. You can go to Alabama. You can go to North Carolina. You can go all over the place in these circuits. So,
I see. Where's the farthest you've gone?
Kerr Reservoir in North Carolina.
Oh, sounds beautiful.
I've been on Missouri, Mark Twain Lake. I've been in Beaver Lake, Arkansas, Pickwick Lake in Alabama. So all the central states I've been in fishing somewhere. And
that's awesome.
Next week, 2 weeks from now, I'll be fishing for $50,000 at Lake Patoka in Indiana. So
wow,
I was a points leader for the.
I see some trophies.
Yes, well, they're not super impressive, but the thing it is, like this particular tournament, we got first place in big bass, and you get a pot for big bass, and you get first place. So we won $4,000 here locally just for that one tournament day. So that's pretty good pay.
Yeah.
$4,000.
And is there any limit to how young you can be to enter a tournament?
Well, if you can be you have to be 16.
Okay.
But you have to have a waiver from the parents if you're under 18.
Gotcha.
And then after you're 18, you can enter. But yeah, we have a lot of father and sons come as pro and co-angler. Or you can send your son. We have a lot of avid young men that are fishing that started when they were 16, and parents drop them off at the tournament. And, they're taken out, brought back, and it's like I said, you can start pretty young, but you can start fishing when you're young. You don't have to be in a tournament.
Sure, sure.
But it's kind of changed. I mean, the finishes on these baits are professional. The rods and stuff is high tech. And
well, speaking of which, you have different reels here, different bait, different. What's the word I'm looking for?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Bait. Tackle.
Tackle.
There you go.
Tackle. So tell us a little bit, if you would, just maybe pick up a reel and tell me what makes it different, I guess.
Okay, well, this is just a basic spinning reel,
okay.
closed face. Anybody that would like to start off, anybody can use this reel.
Okay.
And it'll cast smaller baits, if you want to use a beetle spin for panfish or whatever. Maintenance, it's trouble-free, really, to use that reel.
I see.
And then this one is an open face.
Okay.
A little bit different style, because when you cast this one, you flip the bail open.
Okay.
And the line flows out like this, but it's more finesse. You can use smaller baits, and my kids would use that too when they were younger. So it's, we have pros that use these style baits. So it's just our reels.
So basically, this has a little bit more flexibility as to what you can control.
Right, right. You have a little more control with this, and then the last
creme de la creme one.
Yeah. Well, this one I would not recommend for somebody who's not fished.
Gotcha.
Okay. All your pros use those. They're called a bait caster.
Okay.
And you can spend $40 on one, or you can spend $400 on one.
Wow.
But the reason why we like them is that when you put those on a rod, you have total control of that.
I see.
Okay, so here,
show me
that's
how.
upside down.
Okay. Well.
Okay. When you cast this, you push this button down, and you have your thumb on the line.
Oh, okay.
So when you throw it, you can throw that at a target, whichever way you throw the bait, and you have absolute control. You can stop that bait at any moment in time. So you can really throw it and then stop it.
Oh,
okay?
I see.
So you have more control. You have different sizes of these. Heavier line, you might use a little heavier duty or reel. But this one's a 200 series, but like they make 100 that fit in any woman's hands. Smaller hands, kids' hands. But they need to start off, they need somebody instructing them before they just grab this reel. They'll regret that, because they call it professional overrun in the pros, but you just backlash that into a bird's nest if you mess up.
I see. Well, now when I was fishing in my neighbor's pond, we had to actually use worms. Okay. Do you ever use live bait, or do you usually use?
In tournaments, no, it's illegal.
Gotcha.
No live bait. And I was going to say that this is nice and clean bait. You don't have to worry about getting worm entrails on you.
I like
so that's
that.
kind of nice.
I like that.
But you probably will if you fish a tournament. Yeah, be very careful. Those are sharp.
Those are sharp.
But you would.
It's kind of cute.
Yeah. As long as the fish thinks so, you're really happy about that.
Are they attracted to the different colors then?
Yes.
Or?
I mean, sometimes this white will work.
Yeah, because this is more subdued, I guess, in the color. This is nice and glittery.
It's just the sky's the limit. In fact, you can get custom colors. If you have a color that's your favorite, you can get it painted that way if you want to.
Nice.
Pay a little bit more. But, there's different depths. I mean, there's just a lot of things you can learn.
Sure.
And, the thing of it is, it makes it nice that the best way to be a good fisherman is time on the water. Which is a good excuse to go. But
you like the outdoors, don't you?
Right. Well, the sights you see, the sunsets, sunrises, that kind of thing. It's just really, if you need to get away from everyday life. And this gives you a way to go out, spend time with people.
Sure.
In our tournaments, you cannot know anybody. And I did this. When I first started as a co-angler, I went out to a tournament, didn't know anybody, didn't have a place to stay yet. I was down at the Ohio River at Golconda. First person I found said, well, go down here and stay with him. He'll let you stay there. And we found a campground. We've bunked together. Guys you didn't know, hey, you got an extra bed in there? Yeah, come on in. Doesn't matter. They wouldn't even know you. But if you're a fisherman, they bring you, it's just, if they see you broke down on the road, they're going to stop. If you need something on the water, it's just the mentality of the people fishing is. So
sure.
it just, you know, you get these trophies. It gives you a way to get some accolades for your successes. You'll go out there and you may not catch a fish all day, and if somebody had 30 pounds, you're like scratching your head and stuff. But
sure.
And a lot of them have, you know, takes on Christian anglers and stuff, and that's one of the things I participate in. And so there's just a myriad of aspects for this that you know you could get into, and what's nice is that it gives you time to spend time with friends. It gives you time to spend time with your family. It's not something that some guys leave and go fish, and you know their wives don't fish or whatever. But if they want to, they can, and you can spend time with them. So.
Now, I know you have a picture of a really good day that you had over at Mill Creek, right? Tell us about the fish you're holding in this picture. We'll show it to the audience.
Well, that was a really good day. Anybody that bass fish is like, oh, really? I think I caught 6 fish in an hour.
Oh, wow.
On this kind of bait right here.
Okay.
Made the same cast.
This one, huh?
The same cast in the same location. And caught a 7, a 6.2, 2 5s, and a 4. In less than an hour.
Wow, that's the poundage.
Yes, per fish.
Yeah. And
a 7-pound largemouth around here is good. I mean, you can catch some 8-pounders, you can catch some 9s, but it's kind of rare.
Do you eat the fish that you?
Duska. No, we practice catch and release.
Okay.
All your tournament fishermen do.
Like
it's like, oh God, you're evil.
You can't eat the fish, huh?
Well, you can at the tournament. It is required to catch and release.
I see.
And you know, the thing of it is we use aerated live wells on the boats to try to protect the fish. We have additives to put in the water. So it's very, we're really trying to preserving the resource.
I see.
And your fishermen really get upset if a fish dies, you know, at a tournament and stuff. But now if you're a crappie fisherman and like to pan fish, so you don't just have to go for bass.
Gotcha.
I've been catching crappie, and you know, those go at home into the freezer and stuff. So
I like crappie.
Oh,
crappie's some good stuff.
Yeah, well, I've been catching big ones of those too. But like I said, it's just really what level you want to get into. And you know, it can just go from just, hey, I like to go fishing once a week on the weekend to I want to fish a tournament once a month.
Sure.
Then the next thing you know, you're fishing 2, and then 3, and then you're fishing different levels. So.
So it's a hobby that you can have many, many different levels of enjoying.
Absolutely, right.
From
and
fishing with the grandson to professional.
My grandkids were home this weekend, and unfortunately my boat's in the repair shop, so we couldn't go fishing, but they were camping with their other family. So. But yeah, they can't wait to come home to Grandpa's and go fishing. So
that's awesome.
Absolutely.
Well, Butch, thank you so much for coming and sharing more about the professional side of fishing.
Okay.
I learned a lot.
Okay.
Thanks.
Nice to be here. Thanks.
Joining us today is Phil Fanale of Charleston, Illinois. He has quite the vintage vinyl collection. That's what they're calling it these days, right? Vintage
That's correct,
vinyl.
yes.
Thanks for joining us here in the studio,
No
Phil.
problem.
Appreciate
nice
it.
to be here.
How long you been listening to vintage vinyl?
I'm over 50 years old, so I've been listening to my mother and father's records in the early 60s to picking up my own collection probably around the early 70s, late 60s, and then went to college and exploded with all kinds of music options and people's listening interests, and my ear just continued to grow and add to the collection.
Awesome. Now I can remember in my mom and dad's living room listening to their vinyl, and especially when my mom cleaned, she'd kill me right now, but I can remember her singing It's My Party and I Can Cry If I Want To as the record spun, as she's vacuuming. And I still sing those records. I mean, just growing up, listening to them, it becomes kind of a part of your makeup.
It's emotional attachment. I can tell you where I've plot music or songs, what it does for you in a particular time of your life. So yeah, I think that's probably why I've continued to collect, although I was performed as an early age and singing and choir and in bands. So yeah, the love of music has continued on.
Sure. Now, are you a purist? Do you just listen to them? What's your machine of choice that you listen?
I've got a Thorns belt drive turntable. It's, I think, made in Germany. And I've got a tube amp. It's an integrated tube amp that pays some three-way JBLs. I have them on some nice stereo stands, and that's all I listen to. I have a CD attachment to my stereo, but I primarily listen to vinyl.
I gotcha.
About 3,500 to 5,000 copies of the vinyl. I haven't really added it all up.
Wow. How do you store that many records?
I have my own little living room. Actually, it's about the family room, and most of them are in shelves, but I have some loose, and I just try to keep them in good condition, good copy, and try to cull through them from time to time so that I don't get overburdened with them, and get rid of the ones that I'm trying to part with, which is hard to do.
So you can kind of show your wife that you're trying to trim it down a little bit, right?
She's been very understanding. I have, that room is particularly, you know, it houses my collection, and I have learned to keep my music playing to a minimum, or to the volume down.
I see. Well, I notice you do keep them in plastic sleeves and stuff so that you can, because that's part of the value, isn't it, of an album?
Right.
The
condition. It's you want to make sure you don't have any ring wear or actual circles on the album. You don't want to stack them so that they don't press against each other, so they can deform. You know, keep them out of heat. You want to have a kind of a constant temperature.
And you don't stack them this way, right?
No,
you have to,
you want to stack them
stand
this way, right?
Someone told me that.
Right.
Yeah.
You want to you want to make sure the album inside still has a very playable condition. You know, the ring wear. You want to see that the label has, if it's been played quite a bit, you can tell then the album has been played quite a bit. I mean, you can actually see the wear on it. So that determines value, but more for me and myself, it's playability. Does it still have the condition that you want to hear out of it? Analog, how it's recorded is, to me, a very pure sound. You hear more of the music than you do out of the CD quality. So, I mean, that's why I'm a collector.
I see. Now, I asked you just to bring a few of these today. I don't know how you pick from that
Oh,
big
it's hard.
of a collection, but why don't you just look through here and pick up one of your favorites. I'd like to know what it is that you like about a particular album. Like, this one's beautiful. I've never heard of Rebecca Pigeon.
She is a British actress. I don't know where I picked this up in one of my collections. I bought a lot of collections over the years of people that are getting rid of collections, and I don't do that so much anymore. But this one here is off of, I think, Chesky. It's a 180-gram piece of vinyl, which is an extra thick piece of vinyl. Oh. I think printed in 1994, considered rare. It's just sold, I believe, on eBay for over $200.
Wow.
So it kind of a,
and the
I don't know, singer-songwriter.
Okay. The fact that I haven't heard of her is a good thing, because you were telling me before that maybe the more obscure some of the titles, that the value of it's going to be greater,
it's
generally.
If it's a good pressing, but it was recorded on a higher end piece of vinyl. If it's sold a lot of copies but they've reproduced it, then it has some value. Because it makes it's a limited edition pressing. It could be worth more money. This album here is a nice a classical piece. It sold for over $150 at one time, and now I don't know, since the advent of the internet and eBay, values have declined, and this has just recently had a high-end CD copy reissued off of this, so that sometimes determines value too. If people can get the same quality out of a CD, that hurts.
Okay.
I found this one in a record, or I think it was an antique shop in Windsor, Illinois, that was going out of business, and I bought the whole collection.
Oh, wow.
Probably 1,500 pieces of vinyl. So, for cents on the dollar, for cents per album.
Sure.
But this is just an incredible jazz piece. Mel Brown, Chicken Fat, tremendous virtuosity in the guitar. So I'm a guitar lover, and you can't, and it's a great label on Impulse.
So really, what I'm seeing is an eclectic mix
Right.
of different types of music. So you really do listen to all the styles?
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, not every day, and I don't think I can ever go through my collection. I'll never be a continuous playing. But I mean, I have listened to most of my pieces, and this is as a rock collector, rock and roll, the UFO band, I believe, came out of Germany. This is a label, AKA Records, and it's a German pressing. So it has a little more value than an American pressing, and it has a different label look too. It's just you see the UFO on it.
What do you know? What year that 78s kind of went out and 33s came in?
30. This is my oldest piece. This Roy Acuff and the Smoky Mountain Boys, and that was pressed in '51. I think LPs were in the late '40s, early '50s. There were still 78s produced somewhere up into the '50s. I don't collect them. I mean, they're not as great of a sound quality to me. And they're a thicker piece of vinyl. They're heavier. They're brittle. They tend to deteriorate. But there's still some collectors in that medium.
What does LP stand for? I'm going to show my ignorance.
Long plain.
Oh, okay. I
And
always
it's
wondered.
33 and a third on the dial. You got a 45, a 33 and a third, and a 78.
I see.
It's your frequency, your turns on your turntable.
I see. Now that one looks kind of smaller than the other 33s, though.
Yeah, it's a long playing album. It takes this. Excuse me. Plays the same. I'm gonna lose my voice. But it has some really good mountain music and dance music. So
I love the graphics.
yeah.
I'm always attracted to the front of the albums. I like to frame them because they're just, some of them are so cool. And Roy Acuff, I mean, come on.
Yeah, he was at the Opry forever, and I believe he may have also done some time with the WGN Barn Dance. I'm not for sure, but
I see.
I do like all kinds of music. I've collected local artists here, like the Indian Creek Delta Boys, that were local artists from the Coles County area. There's still some vinyl floating around. I've got another guitarist that was part of the Indian Creek Delta Boys that I've collected. So
I'm noticing, it seems like the interest in vinyl is really on a resurgence right now. Why do you think that is? You're probably saying, "Hey, it never went out."
It is coming back. There's a lot
college
of college kids that are coming back, and they're picking up their pieces of vinyl, and they're taking their mom and dad's collections and getting back to Led Zeppelin. I mean, my daughter's friends are collecting Led Zeppelin again, which is an old group that I listened to in the '70s and still listen to today. It has a lot of tremendous listenability to it. I don't know. I just think there's a novelty about playing an album that you don't get off of a CD. You watch it turn, you hear the music come off of it. It is it just never has. I never have gotten away from it.
And we're in the digital age now. A lot of people are using online sources to download music. Do you think that threatens the
No, I
market,
think, like this Prez and Teddy here, this is a piece of vinyl on Verve, which is a very, very collectible label. It's it's jazz. I think it's a 1956 production. I don't know what the value is of it, but a jazz lover wants, and they will collect for that particular piece, the first pressing. You can find a lot of jazz. Collectors Weekly online has a lot of interesting stuff that taking numbers or values for a particular album that I've never, I didn't really quite understand, but they go into hundreds of dollars, up to sometimes thousands of dollars for a piece. So
wow.
I don't think you'll see collections diminish anytime soon.
Is there like a holy grail of records you would love to find out there someday? Let's say you're out at a garage sale. What one would just make you stop in your tracks?
I've never really found a good Elvis Presley copy. Some of his early copies on Sun would be interesting if it was still in good condition. The Elvis albums, there's still some out there, but the people that are collecting them are not showing them off right now. At least I haven't found any.
Gotcha. We'll be on the lookout. We'll know who to call, right?
Okay.
If we come across an
Okay.
Elvis on the Sun label.
All right.
Well, Phil, thank you so much for bringing some of your collection in
Appreciate it.
and for educating us a little bit
Okay.
on LPs. We appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
That's all for this week on Hobbies, Crafts, and Collectibles. If you know someone you think we might be interested in talking with, we'd love to hear from you. Until next time, I'm Duska Cornwell.